Welcome, everybody.
Freedom, freedom, freedom. Welcome to the Love and Freedom Show. Please welcome your hosts, Sunny Ray and Kyle Kemper.
Interesting. Is this real life?
It's Aaron.
Well,
Sunny Ray.
Special guest.
your
Kyle
hosts,
Kemper.
Sunny Ray and Kyle Kemper.
We're actually streaming now, right?
We're actually streaming now.
Yeah,
Hey,
this is-
everybody. Welcome, everyone. Wednesday,
Yeah.
September 4th. Love
I'm
and
mildly
Freedom Show is
embarrassed.
back. Why are you mildly embarrassed, Sonny? How you feeling today,
No, I'm
buddy?
kidding. I'm feeling good. So we have a special guest.
Hey guys.
We do. Everybody, this is Bitbaron.
Bitbarian.
Mr. Beast of Bitcoin.
Mr.
So,
Beast.
who is the Bitbaron?
Well, it's a nickname after I created this thing called bitbars, which is sort of like a new commodity that I somehow seem to have invented, which is basically NFTs that take up block space on Bitcoin. So it's kind of like real estate. So in that sense, if you own a lot of block space, you become a block space baron. So that's why I called myself Bitbaron. We'll show you like what they look like.
And what is a Bitbar? Yeah, I'd love to see.
Well-
And you can, if anybody's interested, you can learn more at bitbars.xyz.
It's not allowing me to share screen. Oh, there we go. You guys see my screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they look like gold bars, and they just have the amount of block space that it uses on the front, and it takes up exactly that amount of block space. So if you click on, let's say, this is
And hold on, Antoine. So, I mean, I like gold bars. I mean, Bitbaron. I
Yeah.
like gold bars. I like Bitcoin. This looks like a gold bar on Bitcoin.
yeah, they look like gold bars because it's like a digital valuable commodity. It's sort of like a
And this is because of the development in the Bitcoin space. So
yeah, like
where-
Bitcoin
where-
is like gold. It's like the gold of crypto. So that's
Right.
why gold.
But-
'cause it's Bitcoin.
and in order to make these, what you've done is you've taken the concept of block space, which is or I guess the better thing to say is talk about this thing called, like, we know about NFTs and how they work.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are familiar with NFTs, but in Bitcoin there are these things called ordinals, which are basically inscribing data onto onto the blockchain. And you've inscribed gold bars onto the blockchain based on on the size of them, correct?
Exactly. And so each of these bars take up the exact amount of space that it says on the front, down to the byte. And the bigger ones, like you have to pay transaction fees to put data on Bitcoin, right? So if you want to upload 256 kilobytes of data, you have to pay a larger transaction fee. The more bigger size of the file that you want to upload, the bigger the transaction fee. So that makes the bigger ones more expensive. So if you click on one of these ones here, and you go to the inscription ID, and you put it in ordinals.com, you can see all the stats of this bar. So this is a 128 kilobytes bar. If you double click it, it's got some neat graphics that takes up part of the space. And if you look at the content length, that is the size of the file. And 131,072 bytes equals exactly 128 kilobytes. It's basically 128 times 1024. Because 1 kilobyte is 1024 bytes. So that's 1024 times 128. Each bit bar is calculated.
And as kind of a Bitcoin purist, I find this to be a slightly offensive, Antoine, Bit Baron, because you are taking up valuable block space that could otherwise be used for transactions on the network. And you're deciding to create these digital Bitcoin gold bars, correct?
Yeah, I mean, well, check it out. Like, this is a 128 kilobyte bit bar, right? If you take a look at the transaction here, I can show you exactly how much space I'm using, so you can decide how offended you want to be. Yeah, it's this square here. So this is
So you're taking up a fair bit of the block.
yeah. So this is the 120 kilobyte
So
bit
that
bar.
120, that's like, and there's basically 10 minutes in a block. So you're taking up basically like a minute in Bitcoin.
Yeah, so
in
128
Bitcoin's
kilobytes, that takes up 1/16th of the block, right?
Okay, so a little bit less than about 40 seconds in Bitcoin time.
Actually, it looks like
Or Sonny, what do you think? Because you're an old Bitcoin purist, you're muted.
looks like I created two bit bars here in this block, actually. But I paid for it. I paid the fee fair and square to put my transaction in there. And the miner.
I have a lot to say. I mean, I'm intrigued. I think it's interesting. Look, so I always say if there's one thing I'm a bigger fan of than Bitcoin, it's the free market. And I as much as even at the beginning, I kind of thought what he was doing, and you could argue even today, so many would think it's somewhat of an attack on Bitcoin. Like I said, just the fact that you can do it, and if he wants to do it, he should be allowed to do it. Now, it's kind of grown on me over time. I still don't fully see the block size argument, but I'm starting to see more of it now, especially when you relate it to time and Bitcoin being this scarce commodity. Antoine and I have been talking about maybe instilling information, like valuable information. Like, what were some examples, Antoine, that we had? Like,
So
scientific patents, formulas, constitution, the Bitcoin white paper, just stuff like that you would want to kind of make sure that it lives on forever. It would be an interesting way to like marry it. He's also got another angle to it where he's got actual gold bar that comes along with it. So you can trade it in. And I mean, it kind of, there's a lot to it, but yeah, I think there's something there. I'm coming along. It's, yeah.
Bitcoin is one of the most secure, or if not the most secure place to store public data that will never be destroyed. So if you want to put something on the blockchain, on the Bitcoin blockchain that you think is valuable for humanity, that should be public information. Then,
and it's important to note how this is different from NFTs in the Ethereum world, because from what I understand, the actual image resides on a server somewhere, and there's a pointer
it's called
in Ethereum.
On chain.
But this is on chain, so the file itself is inside the Bitcoin blockchain, which is pretty funny. I don't know, Antoine, if you want to tell the story of what happened when we had that discussion. You remember at the Litecoin conference?
You guys,
I wish we had a camera to capture it. It was hilarious.
So the thing is, I also created Litecoin versions of these, and I went a little bit crazy.
Can you show that? Oh my god, this is gonna be hilarious, dude! Check this out.
So these are.
So you did the same thing on Litecoin.
So these are the silver version of the bitbars. They're called Litecoin.
Get it?
Litecoin is like silver. And
so look at that, 169,000 of them.
These are the exact same files, just in a different color. And all these different sizes, and these go on the Litecoin blockchain. So for example, if I take this inscription here, I go to ordinals.
Wow, there's 112 people. Is that correct?
I think that's like viewers who have turning. That number never goes down, so it's just kind of increases. So welcome everybody to this edition of the Love and Freedom Show. We've got our friend Antoine, aka the Bit Baron, and we're going to be exploring this concept of bitbars and taking we'll kind of dive into some current affairs in a moment, but wanted to publicly discuss bitbars and using block space on the Bitcoin blockchain, a finite resource, or on the Litecoin blockchain in this case, to create basically fungible derivative tokens, if you will, or fungible art or collectibles.
Yeah, I call them block space NFTs, and I see it as a type of untapped commodity that only a few people are aware of right now, but it's very, very cheap at the moment, and I think the price will be very high in the future.
What
And
site are you on right now, Antoine?
so this is mempool.space. It's a
Cool.
Bitcoin
So
blockchain.
cool. Look at the graphic on the bottom. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's.
Is that real time? Like, are you actually? Whoa! Did you see that?
These are the amount
So
of transactions
funky.
that are coming in to the mempool that are being queuing up.
So Andrew, can you show the chart that you shared at that
Yes,
event?
I will. Let me show you a few things first.
Oh, you're building up to it. Okay, I like
so,
it. Crescendo.
Here, these are all the transactions that go into Bitcoin. You can see every block has all these different transactions. Some are very big, some are very small. The big ones, it's proportional to the size, the transaction fee you pay. So you have to pay higher transaction fees for bigger ones. And this little figure here is the amount you pay per byte, basically. So if I put a 256 kilobyte bit bar, I'm going to pay this much per byte, essentially. It's slightly more complicated, but that's the gist of it. And as you can see, all these blocks are like absolutely, completely 100% full because there's enough transactions that to be able to fill up the capacity of Bitcoin. But if you go to Litecoin, all these blocks are actually like mostly empty because they have a minimum transaction fee of 1 sat per VB or 1 Litoshi per VB. So,
and on Litecoin, the blocks are bigger too.
The blocks are the same size, but they're more frequent. So there's 4 times as many blocks every hour than Bitcoin.
Okay, so instead of every 10 minutes, every 2.5 minutes.
Correct.
Okay.
Now, if you go here, about a year ago, I uploaded a whole bunch of light bars to Litecoin, and I actually just wait. Let me see if I can. Yeah. So at this time, all the blocks are pretty much full, and that's because they were just filled by me. I didn't get every single block. Some of them are still empty, but most of them are full, right? So you just click on a particular block, you can see that the transactions are very large on average. And that's because each one of those is a light bar. So you click on these.
The bit baron struck again.
Yeah, so I did this a year ago. I should probably do it again. So this is what I showed Charlie Lee when we in Nashville.
And just pull up a picture of Charlie Lee first.
Litecoin. Yeah, sure. Yeah, this is Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin.
Charlie Lee, the creator of Litecoin.
Great.
So you ran into Charlie Lee.
Yeah.
Let me just set the stage. You were in Nashville at the Litecoin Summit, which was the silver summit right before the gold summit of Bitcoin. And you ran into Charlie and were like, Charlie, let me show you something.
If you look at the Litecoin blockchain size chart, this is the size of the blockchain. When I upload it, if you fill up enough of blocks, the size of the blockchain is going to grow very fast. So what happened was I single-handedly made this little blip here happen.
Go vertical.
That looks like the election night bump.
But we showed this to Charlie Lee, and I was like, "Do you know what happened here?" Like, he's like, "Oh yeah, like I saw that." Like the Litecoin people, they noticed this, but they didn't know what it was. They were wondering, and then I guess they just kind of like saw it at the time and didn't think about it afterwards. But Charlie's like, "Oh, it's probably something to do with the ordinals, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, like I made that happen." And he sort of did a double take, and then I showed him the light bars on Chicken Market. Yeah, and then
what's Chicken Market?
It's a Litecoin ordinals marketplace. It's very underdeveloped, but there you have it. Like you can go and buy and sell ordinals. So I got the collection listed. There's 170,000 I airdropped about 100,000 of them to random Litecoin addresses, so they're just floating around as regular Litecoin. Yeah, I mean, ordinals. Yeah, we can explain how it works, but basically, if you don't have an ordinals wallet, then it just treats it as regular Litecoin and it just sends it around, and like you won't know that you have it. So they're just
Because the way that an ordinal works is it's attached to a Satoshi, correct?
yes. So the Satoshi, if it's not recognized as an inscription by your wallet, then it just treats it as regular Litecoin, and it'll just send it around and circulate it as if it was regular Litecoin.
And a Satoshi is the smallest unit. So of the Bitcoin, there's 8 decimal places in Bitcoin and Litecoin, and the
Sorry, we should-
smallest
So
unit
instead of Satoshi, is it called the Charlie?
No, it's called a Litoshi. We should say
Litoshi. Okay, got it. Interesting.
Right. So I went. I showed this to Charlie. He did the double take, and I was like, "Oh, I could probably double the Litecoin blockchain by myself." By the way, just and then he's like, "Please don't." I could just don't be like I could just
But
do it.
and
without
in doing that, you can create a whole a lot of these these basically these NFTs. Now NFT stands for non-fungible token.
What were their
but
concerns?
I think that their concerns are that they don't want the price of Litecoin transactions to go up.
Mm.
And number two, they don't want they don't want to make it more expensive for people to run nodes, because anybody who's running a Litecoin node has to hold my extra the 10 gigabytes of the light bars that I made. So I added,
Right. Oh, right. I remember. And then one guy was like, I had to go buy a second hard drive just because of that. Something like that.
Yeah, so I forced every Litecoin node operator to
go out and buy second hard drives. Anyway, sorry, Kyle, I interrupted. But yeah,
it's okay.
Are we going to talk about bitbars? Is there anything else you want to share, Antoine, about this? Or should we come back to it, talk about some other stuff? Or was there anything else you wanted to go into in terms of bitbars?
Yeah, I'm just trying to create more bitbars on Bitcoin, but it's more expensive, of course. But I see bitbars the gold standard of block NFTs. So we're trying to be the gold standard of block space NFTs. Block space NFTs isn't really even a thing yet. We kind of just invented that. But you know what's funny is that somebody who's not from crypto can appreciate this more easily than an NFT expert. And an NFT expert might be concerned about scarcity or marketing or differentiation, a whole bunch of that kind of stuff. But somebody who doesn't understand NFTs at all, they're just like, oh yeah, it's just worth the number of kilobytes. Kilobytes are valuable. So it's kind of like that meme where it's you have the 50 IQ guy on the left, and then the normie in the middle, and then the genius on the right. And the genius and the 50 IQ guy, they agree, but it's the normies think that the normie's the one in the wrong. But
Games R Us video games says ooh to this whole concept. I think that's like an ooh, wow, like an excitement ooh, and
and not a ew.
That would be ew.
Get the expert's wallet, and I'll send you a bitbar.
So if you're listening, if you're participating, if you want to take part in this bitbar giveaway and be given one of BitBaron's original creations, these digital collectibles of block space creations, simply download Xverse wallet. And do you download it, or do you just go to Xverse? How does the Xverse wallet work, Antoine?
Yeah, it's an app, or you can get a browser extension, and then you have to set up the wallet, and then share your address.
And then with that, Antoine will send you some Bitcoin, which includes the Satoshi that has the inscription attached, and you will then see in your wallet you have a bitbar, and you're in.
Yeah.
You're in. You're bitbar. You're a bitbar.
You're a bitbar.
You've bitbarred.
You're a bitbar holder.
And so, and then the last point that I wanted to kind of touch on too is what is the next step for bitbars?
Yeah, next step. So we have some really cool, stuff going on. We have a lot of different cool aspects to this project, and one of them is we have the original bitbars that we made. that are the genesis of the bitbar concept. So we made these right when ordinals came out. I thank ordinals for helping me even come up with this concept. This concept doesn't necessarily rely on ordinals, but without ordinals, I wouldn't have thought of this, of bitbars. So thank you for that to ordinals. But we created this collection called Bitbars Genesis. Basically, we minted 1,000 of these 1 kilobyte bitbars. These are the very first, started off as 1 kilobytes. So 1,000 of these that were part of the first 100,000 ordinals ever. So those first 100,000 ordinals, they're called sub 100K because there was all minted before the 100,000th inscription.
You were right on. You were right on this. Like as soon as it kind of came out, and
Yeah.
I know. I remember there was a time too when, because let's be honest, Antoine, we can be nerds,
Yeah.
and there was that time when we hit the block 7777. It was like
That happened shortly after this. Yes.
that happened shortly after that. We timed it. We were up. We were ready. We had inscriptions ready to go. You minted a bunch. We minted an awesome Hal Finney meme ordinal at that time too.
So yeah, these are called the bitbars 777777 because we just made 7 of these 7 kilobyte bitbars in the Bitcoin block 777777. So it's just like a neat,
a weird collectible thing and an innovative new technology, just like Bitcoin. And in the beginning, you think, "Oh, I'm just playing with something," but over time, it can really become something as well, just like Bitcoin has.
Right. So
next up, Sonny.
Yeah.
Antoine, is there something else? We're gonna jump to some current event talk.
Cool. I just want to know if there's any audience questions, but I'm cool. Yeah, go to the next topic.
Well, we've got I think we have an answer to the ooh. So Games R Us Video Games was saying that the ooh actually represented eyes or infinity. So it wasn't ooh, I guess.
Well, when people put eyes, it means they're interested, right?
Means they're interested. Yeah, very, very, very much so. And again, I think there's so much innovative potential for leveraging the inscriptions and the ordinals, and we're just the beginning of this new wave, and it takes a little bit of adoption.
And even within that world, block space is still like supremely underrated. People are not thinking about it, and like the transaction fees on Bitcoin are so cheap right now. You can just put on some really, really cheap inscriptions, large files, and they're probably going to be extremely valuable in the future.
Like, I don't know. What are some examples of things people might want to put on there? I guess we talked about it a little bit.
So far, large files, inscriptions, they've just mostly it's been images, which is valuable in its own right.
But like what text or I don't know what images might be examples of things that people might want to inscribe.
What if someone put something really bad on there too? Is there anything you've done about that?
Surprisingly and fortunately, I have not seen really much, if any, bad stuff going on at all. Like it's very like a self-curated community.
Like what if someone put your phone number, Antoine, on there?
Yeah, totally. I have not heard of people doing that, and I'm really kind of surprised. Like I've seen people upload some, like naughty drawings and softcore porn, and that's like literally the worst I've seen.
Well, and it hasn't really clicked yet because at some point the baddies will get in, and then I suppose there's stuff. But let's not get in. Let's we can kind of get in the weeds there. And I want to be mindful. Sonny showed up today with a lot of energy, ready to go, and he was like, "I'm ready to go. I got so much energy. I want to go." Like, what are we gonna go on, Sonny? Do you want to take the driver's seat?
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I don't know this new software, so I think you're gonna need to drive today.
No, you share a screen and you go to your Twitter and.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Is that easy?
It's that easy.
Sure.
You present on the bottom, click that or share screen.
Yeah, no, I was a bit confused by the new format. I didn't know we were gonna just shill that hard, but hey, dude, I'm here for it.
Well, he kicked into it right
we,
away.
We moved right into the sales pitch. Like, where was the conversation, the love, the freedom? None of
Thank
it.
you.
But anyways,
Yeah,
I
no,
just
you.
thought I'd let you run with that. I just had to call it out. What's okay? What's going on? Yeah, we just went straight into shill for like 30
Well, he
minutes.
just right away.
We
Yeah,
haven't seen
25
people. We're
minutes.
just
Oh
like,
my
it doesn't
god.
matter. We're just
We
gonna talk about
clip and
bitbars.
share it,
And
folks.
Antoine's like, yes, I've got it. So it felt a bit unnatural. Not gonna lie, like totally. What?
I'm offering free bitbars if anyone wants. I hope that would at least.
No. Okay, guys, don't take this lightly because I'm sure. Yeah, Antoine's always
take
ahead
it
of the
lightly.
curve. Just to put it into perspective, I'm not gonna lie. If most people are thinking like WTF, this is like really just nothing. That's what I kind of thought. I gave this guy $20 or something, and then he gave me like 3 of these. What were they? Like ordinals, essentially, right? Like
Yeah.
a year ago. And because I had those, I got something dropped called a rune stone, which I think were worth like what, Antoine, at one point almost 0.1 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And then 0.1 Bitcoin, like, okay. And then because I have that, I got something called dog. I have like almost like 800 or 900,000 dog, and dog's like, it hit page 1 of CoinMarketCap at one point. So I'm now like a believer, but I just didn't know we were going to shill that hard, which is all good.
Yeah, I don't mean to. I don't want to chill, but yeah. Anyways.
Yeah, no, I think we should just maybe focus more on just like chilling, and then maybe throw in some like tidbits of like education around ordinals and stuff. Okay, look at this. What's remarkable about the double slit experiment is how it reveals that modern man assumes he is a separate observer of the universe. He is therefore shocked when he sees evidence that he is the universe. I don't even know what that means. I don't know what am I gonna shill? Jeez, dude. Oh, I have something to shill. Can you see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, I want to show something. I mean, this isn't anything to show. This is more just like I want to share. See, sharing, right? There we go. So this is something Antoine and I started working on last week as well. Kyle, can you see my screen? Where did Kyle go? Kyle's muted. Kyle?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm here.
Kyle? Kyle's back.
I'm here.
You're here. Okay, so can you see my screen? Yes or no?
Yes, I can.
So I don't know if it's going to work. It may not. But I need an article. Bitcoin article. I need a news article or something. Okay, so let's say this one. The history of Bitcoin. Ooh, that sounds interesting. So I can take this this link. Said you drop it into Slack. Okay, it's probably not going to work because whenever you do demos, they never work, right? So this is like an automation that I built. I followed like a video on YouTube, obviously. And so that link, so see here, click on it. See, look, investing, history of Bitcoin. See how it picked it up? Do you guys see what happened?
Maybe you can make it a little bit bigger.
So did you guys see what happened? Yeah. Whoops.
Somehow you dropped something in Slack.
So all I did is I dropped a link in Slack, and that link got pulled into this automation. It got sent to a researcher. So imagine ChatGPT meets Google. That's what Perplexity is. It goes through this like process where it finds the 5 most important points, goes and finds counterexamples, other people referring to this article, blah, blah, blah. There's all this research on the article. Then it goes through a router, and one side of it gets sent to LinkedIn, another to Twitter bot, a ChatGPT, and a Facebook ChatGPT, right? And then it goes through like a Dolly thing where it makes an image, and then it spits out the LinkedIn post and the ChatGPT image all into like a Google Doc. So I can just go to that Google Doc and see essentially, oh, my LinkedIn posts are ready, my Twitter posts, I can edit them and then just fire them out. And you can train it on your own voice. You can do all this crazy stuff. But so long story short,
let's see some of these outputs. That one of those Google Docs there.
But I'm sharing my screen, so it's going to be a bit weird. But let me just move it aside, pull it up, and then I'll show you. So here, for example,
So you just like at the end of the day, like you just use automation and
so
AI.
this is that file where it gets output. So this is the one of the articles I did yesterday. I was testing it out. Bitcoin enthusiasts, let's talk about Samson Mao's latest tweet. A reminder to hold tight as Bitcoin is projected to hit 100,000. Makes all the whole. This is a LinkedIn. See, then there's a tweet, right? And the images are created. The images are not super on point, and I'd have to like train it to like get rid of the text and stuff because it obviously still messes up text. But it can create the images. This is like a LinkedIn post. So like lots of these. See, look, 22 pages. Look, if I scroll down. Today I did one with my cousin for Edmonton, a real estate, because he's a real estate agent. And so it like I just fed it like an Edmonton real estate article, and boom, look, Edmonton's real estate market is set to lead Canada in 2023. And it just like summarized some article and kind of like gave its own take on it. Isn't that cool?
That's really cool.
And that's like one of many different like I don't know automations and stuff that I've been playing with. I'm just fascinated with it. I mean Bitcoin obviously just because like it's Bitcoin's so cool. But yeah, lately I've been very taken aback by AI. I think there's a lot to it. How do I stop sharing screen?
So on the bottom here, if you just
here we go.
Just
Stop
say
screen.
remove.
Okay.
I can just
So just and it had like many so the application that I was in is called make.com. If people want to check it out, I'm not like, I don't have any affiliation to it except that I just like it. So I think AI is very interesting. I don't know, like today I had a friend she was like, "Oh, I want to apply for a grant for like the Alberta government. They have a $55,000 grant to make movies." And he's like, "I have like a director and a producer. We want to put this thing together. We've got this whole great idea." And she's like, "I have all the different pieces of the puzzle," but she's like, "I got to now write this like business plan." And she's like an artist type. She's like, "I don't want to." I'm like, ChatGPT. I just fed it in like 4 PDFs, an email, a bunch of gobbledygook, like brain dumps, this. And I was just like, go. It was like 11 pages of like absolute beauty, right? Just like perfect, bang on. It's like even came up with like plot twists to the movie and shit. Like you're like, what? Crazy. So I don't know. I think I'm
how
excited.
What was her reaction to that?
She was just like, what? Like what? Like that would have been like a 2-week endeavor for her, maybe 2 months. Who knows?
I mean that could like traditionally that's like, hire somebody to help do that.
Dude, or just forget about it. It's too much work. Lost opportunity. Now it's like So I don't know. So now I'm really intrigued by this concept called agents, which is like where you have AIs that can like take action on your behalf. I think and then where they can collaborate between one another. Like that stuff that's kind of what Make enables you to do. So like, for example, I'm building another one using Make. It's like a research panel. You just feed it a topic and it'll be Llama, Claude, and ChatGPT all like arguing between each other for like a while, and then they'll come back with their best like synthesis of like what they all agree on. What?
Yeah, I know. I wanted to see if we could get like.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like stuff like that. I'm just so
like how hard would it be, Sonny, to have like to get it to the point where we could have like a real-time debate between Trump, Bobby, and Kamala of all just like AI people with voices, but trained on all of their actual statements and actions.
It wouldn't be that hard. I mean, it would be like a Saturday thing. Yeah. No, I'm serious. I even know exactly because you'd have to scrape their interviews and stuff off YouTube to get their text. You'd have to train it. You'd use ChatGPT assistants. But you know what though? Today I tried to make something with Trump and yeah, I don't know, just like a funny image on Midjourney, and it was like, sorry, our community has voted that anything to do with Trump or Joe Biden during the election cycle will not be allowed. I was like, what? Midjourney is the one that everyone, it's like supposed to be. Anyways, but X is now allowing it. So, anyways, I don't know.
Did you see that Alexa?
181 people have signed in.
Did you see that Alexa instance of people asking Alexa why they should vote for Trump and Harris? If you didn't see that, here I'll.
Alexa, I don't think so. Hey, you should tell people about Suno on the topic of AI.
Yeah, so Suno, this is an AI music generator.
You gotta play one of the songs.
Here,
you had some good ones too. Remember when Antoine and I got speechless earlier? You were just like, we're like, whoa, this is scary good.
Yeah, this. We'll listen to, for example, this is like a pop-themed Love and Freedom intro song. So that intro when we kicked off, like, let's hear what this one sounds like.
Love, love, love. Freedom, freedom, freedom,
freedom, freedom, freedom.
Welcome to the Love and Freedom Show. Please welcome your hosts, Sunny Ray and Kyle Kemper.
Oh yeah, baby. Come on now. Pretty sad. I love it.
Full copyright.
Welcome to the Love and Freedom Show. Please welcome your hosts, Sunny Ray and Kyle Kemper.
So this is like, honestly, I'm just like feeding it a little bit. There's just like, you can even do this non-custom ones. Like, tell Antoine, give me a prompt.
Wait. I'm not going to just give you a prompt. I'm going to ask ChatGPT to write me a prompt.
Oh, God.
For AI, write a prompt for AI to generate.
Sonny, give me a prompt.
Sorry, a prompt for what?
For what kind of a song do you want?
Oh, for Suno. Oh,
yeah, what would be a song that your daughters would love to hear, for example?
A song about ponies and
a song
and bunnies
about your daughter's names are we'll say it's Ava and Amelia are two of our daughters.
I thought you were gonna pick names that weren't close to theirs.
Okay, I got a prompt. Okay.
Go ahead.
Here, I'm just pasting it in the chat here.
Okay, he's pasting in the chat, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, I have to connect my YouTube account.
All right, well, he can't do it. But a song about Ava and Amelia riding unicorns. So, synth, dreamy pop. This is going to be a great song. I can already sense it.
Kyle, I sent it to your WhatsApp. I don't know if you can deal with that.
You ready?
And Amelia ride unicorns in starlit skies. Magic lights up the night. Dreams take flight in their eyes. Golden wings and sparkling horns. Through the clouds they're swiftly born. Rainbow trails left behind.
So,
in their hearts they find.
This is Juno.
Fly high into the blue. Ava with Amelia too. Unicorns beneath moon's glow. Together through the stars they go. Whispers in the wind they hear.
And we're done. All right, that was really great. But that's Suno. You can have a lot of fun with that. It's like, I've played with the kids. I make songs. I made some songs at the DNC. Hold on. Before we go to this next thing, I do want to just show this. This is a song that we made at the DNC. I made this outside of the Daily Show.
Is a DNC democratic? Why won't Kamala talk to the press? What is she hiding? What is she afraid of? Is it we the people or we the party?
I don't know. For some reason. All right, sorry, friends. But Sonny, this is what I wanted to show you. Was on X. I just think I saw it on Instagram, but I bet if we just search Alexa interference.
Alexa, why should I vote for Donald Trump?
I cannot provide content that promotes a specific political party or a specific candidate.
Alexa, why should I vote for Kamala Harris?
Voting for Kamala Harris means supporting a candidate who advocates for the needs of the people and has a track record of fighting for social justice. As the Vice President of the United States, Harris has advocated for policies such as raising the minimum wage, addressing income inequality, and expanding
So
access
this is a little
to
bit of a
healthcare.
controversy right now about
There you
how
have it.
what do you think about that, Sonny?
I mean, I don't have much to think about it. I think it's pretty I mean, is it real?
That's real. Oh yeah. People are
Did you
all
guys see the
doing
Trump?
this all over the internet.
Hey, by the way, we got to talk about that, right? The RFK walkout. Can I share my screen on that?
Sure can.
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Something big happened. Just to imprint it in the. Here we go. 1 second. Share screen. Let me know when it comes through. Yeah, 3, 2, 1. You guys see this? You hear it
Can't hear it. I don't think your volume.
now or no?
No.
Oh, okay. I have a way to force it, but that's kind of weird.
No. I think if
Here.
no, it's not. It's not going. I think you got to. There's a share sound tab.
Can't hear it?
No. But
Can't
what
hear
it
it?
is, we really need to hear this because the song
No,
is
but you
playing.
can't hear it?
No.
Oh. Wah, wah, wah. Why don't you play it then? Because yours is working.
Mine is working.
Antoine, did you hear? All the good guys are joining forces.
Are you talking about Trump and Kennedy
Uh-huh.
and Kyle?
Yo, did you see the articles about Kyle?
No, I did not.
Bro,
Whoa, what happened?
Kyle. He's the Kean guy even wrote about him.
Damn.
Show
Who
that
did?
article. Kean,
I was also on Channel 5 News. That was pretty.
which has
funny.
over 1 million. 1 million.
1 million.
Oh, Wired on the bus with
There you go.
Oh, I see some.
He's on some anti-aging shit.
It's pretty good. And I feel like his speech that he gave earlier that day when he announced the suspension of the campaign, he's not dropped out. He's still on 40 ballots, folks. But that speech that he gave earlier, just like I was watching it on CNN with a bunch of people, and I was like, "Oh my god!" They're just like CNN was playing it, and he just kept going on, and he was just like railing into this Democratic Party that's wholly undemocratic and explaining, all the different attacks that they were using against him, and how there's so much projection, and they believe in censorship and forever wars and unhealthiness and toxins and chemicals, etc. And it got to the point where like they were expecting him to, like, I don't know, come out and just say what he was going to say right away, but he actually used it as a time because all the cameras were on. And and CNN had to cut him off because it was just becoming far too dangerous for their audience's ears. um, they say sticks and stones may break my bones, but words, will never hurt me. Well, not in the world of CNN. Like, don't let Bobby's words get to your precious audience.
So at the Nashville Bitcoin conference, right, that Antoine and I were at, he said that 80% of his personal net worth is in Bitcoin, and he said that if he becomes president, he'll ensure that 4 million Bitcoin are bought by the United States government as like a strategic reserve asset. And then Trump came out and said 1 million. So now that they're together, will it be 5 million?
Well, and I think one of the things too is Kamala wanted to, like, I think she was like talking about selling it, like,
didn't they? Or I thought
I think did they sell some?
I don't know.
Because like the Department of Justice has 200,000 bitcoins, and Bobby's plan was, let's take 200,000 bitcoin, let's move it over to the Treasury,
right,
and this will become a strategic reserve asset, and then we will add. And then Bobby also wants to add 550 bitcoin a day until we reach 4 million total.
I'm not particularly partisan, but I would definitely vote for a candidate just purely based on if they plan to keep that 200,000 bitcoin.
I mean, you're a single issue voter.
Yes, I guess so. Like, that would be a single issue for me.
There's a lot of people that are single issue voters that really, especially within the crypto industry, and it's like, Bobby in his speech at Bitcoin Miami in Bitcoin Nashville, like, was so on point about the importance of it. And I love that every time he introduces Bitcoin, he talks about the truckers, and he talks about what happened in Canada and the need for transactional freedom. So, man, yeah, he's
so good.
Bobby's so good.
He's so good.
So good. And
heart.
And now by recognizing and creating, Justice League forming up here.
Avengers.
Because one of the things I've heard about Bobby is, like, he's so amazing in so many different things, but one of the things that he's not particularly good at, apparently, is firing people. Like, he just hasn't been the real hammer when it comes to firing people. So
whereas Trump is like the master of you're fired.
Trump literally is
built a brand.
You're fired.
Yeah.
So if Bobby can be the one telling Trump whom to fire and helping, guide him on the transition team, like, I think it's really it's an excellent combo.
Dude, they said Elon's going to be the Department of Government Efficiency, Doge.
Yeah, Department of Government.
Is this some sort of alternate universe we find ourselves in? Like, how is it that
Elon? How can we, like, and like, I'll put that to you too, and Antoine, like, knowing all this technology, like how you're just using that make solution to radically streamline otherwise, fairly gruesome work, could have been gruesome work or time requiring work, maybe in multi-party work. What if you apply that same technology towards something like, I don't know, the Department of Education or Justice, or holy shit, how about this one? How about like immigration? Towards like processing. I've been in immigration processing for almost 3 years now, like for a task that really should have been just like 3 seconds to be like 3 years of not being able to, like,
what are they processing for 3 years?
There's a file. There's like a file that's like floating around, and it's like, and all these people have to put their hands on it, touch the file. And if they want to make a decision on my file, they have to have the actual file. So and when I moved a couple times, I was in San Diego, then I was in South Florida, and now we're Midwest
Mm.
Florida. So now it's like, it's moving. We're moving around a little bit. So the file's got to move too. And oh man, that'll slow things down. But again, like, we're using this tech and like thinking about new models for this with the right people around at the table, having open, honest discussions. Like, man, it is on. Boom, done. So yes, welcome, brother.
There's also something to be said about using Bitcoin for voting. I was actually listening to the guys in Nashville talk about this, like how you can use. Do you know much about this, Antoine? Like how, like, can you build? Oh, you're on mute there. But can you build tools on top of Bitcoin that enable or
Maybe
disable the ability to, like, tamper with voting? Like,
I'll be right back.
maybe if you're talking putting hashes on the chain, like
something like that.
yeah, then yes, perhaps yes. I'm sure there's something you can do. I'm not sure what the strategy is behind what you're talking about, though.
So actually, just to go back to the bitbar thing, right? So instead of talking about bitbars, why don't you explain while Kyle comes back or before he comes back what ordinals are and what makes them interesting? Like kind of like the way we were trying to explain it to my daughters, right? Like from basics, like why is, you know what I mean? Why is maybe like not in too many words, but like why is Bitcoin important? Why, like if you're just explaining to some like Martian or my grandmother or something, or someone like super, who's not accustomed to our lingo, how would you explain like Bitcoin
Well,
and ordinals? It's a hard one. It's not easy.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to decide where to start, but what they did was they said, okay, each Bitcoin is divisible by 100 million. So we're going to take every little piece, 100 millionth of every Bitcoin, and give it a number from 1 till the last Bitcoin. So every little tiny piece of Bitcoin has a number. It's kind of like a serial number. We call it the SAT number or the Satoshi number, but it's basically like a serial number. So now, if you look at your Bitcoin wallet and you have any amount of Bitcoin in it, you can see what serial numbers you have. So some serial numbers are more interesting than others. They might end in a lot of zeros, right? If it ends in enough zeros, then it's considered a rare Satoshi. Like you can click here, just go, I'll just put like this. This Satoshi ends in like 9 zeros, I believe, or not 9 zeros, like 12 zeros, and it's the rarity is uncommon, so it's considered an uncommon Satoshi because it has enough zeros. Basically, they're just like it turns some of the Satoshis into collector's items. And what it does is it says, okay, now Bitcoin that used to be considered the same as any other Bitcoin is now different and valuable. So it made Bitcoin more non-fungible. It made Bitcoin less fungible. So Bitcoin is still like relatively fungible. Most Bitcoin is worth the same as any other SAT. Any SAT is worth the same as any other SAT. But it just added more non-fungibility to Bitcoin, or it reduced the fungibility of Bitcoin because some serial numbers are more interesting than others. Yeah, that's what ordinals did. It added this serial numbers. And then on top of that, they said, okay, you can take any Satoshi, any serial number, and put an image on it. And that image goes directly onto Bitcoin. And these images are called inscriptions. I mean, it doesn't have to be an image. It could be any.
I don't think you're sharing your screen. Are you trying to?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Now you
Do you not
can
see my
see it.
screen?
No, now
now
you're
you're
some infinite pattern, but
Yeah.
what you were sharing earlier was
There you go.
Yeah. So so you can upload any file to Bitcoin, and it'll go on the blockchain. So it'll basically be.
So you didn't explain Bitcoin, right? Or I don't know. It's kind of hard to, I guess, right?
Sorry.
Like if you had to explain Bitcoin, I'm just curious. How do you explain it? Like just not in like a big long
Bitcoin is
story,
like
but like just in a couple of like succinct sentences.
it's like a decentralized computer network that exists on the internet that supports a currency, and it's a bit weird. Like it only exists and it works because of the currency, and the currency only works because of the network. So they support each other. So the network wouldn't exist without the currency, and the currency wouldn't exist without the network. You need both in order for Bitcoin to work.
So Bitcoin is the world's first open source, decentralized digital network and currency.
Yeah.
And
Like
what makes it super interesting is that it's open source, but it's also decentralized, but it's also censorship resistant, and it's limited. Like I think the number one thing that Bitcoin did that nobody else before it could, was have a digital commodity that was scarce. Like anything digital by definition, I can copy pasta and make a million versions of.
That's
But
right.
how do you make something digital scarce? So I think that's what Satoshi figured out. And he applied it to the concept of money, right? Yeah. Now 10 years in, 15 years into this experiment, people are figuring out how to essentially inscribe art into this like network. And they do it by paying miners, and that's another maybe conversation of itself.
Yeah,
but
paying
like
transaction fees.
yeah, so it's so Bitcoin itself. So Bitcoin, if I had to say it in 3 words, it's the future of money, and it's just like digital network. And now, like I said, people are figuring out how to inscribe art, and essentially if you had a piece of art and you wanted it to last the test of time, how would you go about doing it?
This one says ordinals
Look
are
at
dead.
that. Ordinals are dead. I love it. It's like a play on, yeah. And that's the funny thing is ordinals cannot die because you'd have to kill Bitcoin.
Exactly.
And Bitcoin's not dying. So
this image that says ordinals are dead, this is gonna last like forever. As long as Bitcoin's alive, this image that says
exactly. Before, like people who said this will die before this image does.
Yeah.
And I think, just to kind of jumping around a bit, but Charlie Lee, the story around that was hilarious because I was there to witness it. But what I found so interesting about that interaction between Antoine and Charlie was that, see, Bitcoin, crypto, it's kind of positioned as this like invincible like tool against the state, and the state can never take it down, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Yet here there was this guy named Antoine in my basement tinkering. You spent a couple grand and made the Litecoin graph go parabolic and strike fear into the heart of the maker of Litecoin. Like he was literally like, please don't. So maybe these systems are not as robust or as first anti-fragile as we believe they are. Like, or maybe our perception of it is not correct, right? This is probably what you're saying, right, Antoine?
Exactly. But I would, for what I did to Litecoin, that would be a lot harder to do on Bitcoin, because like to increase Bitcoin by 10 gigabytes, Litecoin, it cost me $5,000. On Bitcoin, if I wanted to put 10 gigabytes on Bitcoin, man, that would cost like, I don't even know. I have to calculate it, but definitely into the millions. At least 10, 20 million or something like that. And
anyway, so Kyle, I was just getting Antoine to explain what ordinals are, right? And if you really think about it, they are a fascinating idea. And like art is all about scarcity. So when you have a digital piece of art that is scarce, it kind of rhymes. I mean, it just like makes sense. So I like it.
So I was saying, like, I don't see myself as a hacker. I didn't hack Bitcoin or Litecoin. I just sort of
the people at that conference definitely looked at you like you're a hacker. They were like, you made me buy a hard drive. One guy literally was like, dude, you're like a hacker that goes up to people and they're like, I hacked you.
but like I don't see it as hacking. I just see it as using the network to its capability, like using it for what it's capable for. And it's capable of something that's different.
What made it capable to do that? Like just for, I don't know,
I showed you guys earlier,
purposes.
Like space, these empty blocks here, right? So some blocks are full right now, but a lot of these blocks are empty. So all of these empty blocks are capable of being filled. So I just filled them. So I just use the network capacity.
You just fill them.
Anyways, I went back to shilling.
Fills them. We're back.
It's okay.
I've invited some other people to join us on here too. Like, I want to see, we can have up 10 people on this stream. So Let's see. Should we just publicly invite people and maybe do some trivia and they can win bitbars?
Yeah, it'd be like Oprah giveaway.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you,
Anybody
know?
watching, just get Xverse wallet and send me your address, and I will send you a bitbar. I would love to distribute to the listeners of Kyle's and Sunny show.
Okay.
Can I? Oh, I guess my audio doesn't work, so I can't play anything.
This is a great explanation. Thanks, Done. Done so.
What's next?
Doesn't show. Let me show.
Where do we go from here?
We can go back to some current events if we want, or we can talk about what upcoming things. So I am going to be going to Denver on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of
Next one.
September for the Independent National Convention. inc24.us is website. Let's see. Too many windows open. So, speakers and panelists. Oh, where's Bobby? Where's Bobby?
Shit, they buried the lead.
By the way, I can't see, but how many people are?
268 are live right now.
No way. That's like all-time listeners, no?
Does it really matter? Look at this. Bitcoin is now the 6th top monetary asset in the world. Like, if anyone's wondering why we're talking about it, just saying.
Yeah, it's wait, where's gold?
Oh, gold is number 1, baby. So your project combines these two, right?
Yeah, we're trying to combine bitbars.
Or are you not allowed to talk about that? Will your boss get mad?
But I don't want to chill. I mean, I don't want to chill unless we're doing.
Oh no! But I'm asking, see, in an inquisitive manner, so you're allowed to answer.
Right. So
we just went straight into shilling. That's what I was a bit like.
Oh, okay.
But it's we're good now. Now we're warmed up. 270 people watching live.
We should call the next session "Chill and Chill."
Chill and chill. Yeah,
well,
my audio doesn't work.
And thanks to a couple of people who just joined on.
David Johnston.
David Johnson, that's the Morpheus project. That one's really, really cool.
So awesome.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
That guy's a legend.
So awesome. Yeah, he is a legend. You know, he invented the word dApps.
Yeah,
Can you believe that? That's pretty crazy, no? Did you know that he was the one who gave me the idea for Uno Coin?
Really? Wow.
Like, think about that. To like 2012 or some shit on a Zoom call or something like that, whatever we used back then. He was like, is there something like Coinbase in India? I was like,
he's a
question.
A true decentralized gentleman.
D2, yeah, like that.
Or degen.
Or degen, as we like to call it. Is that where it comes from? No. Anyways, I haven't been retweeting or tweeting much at all, so I don't have much.
What have you been doing lately, Sonny?
Working.
Getting up early, working.
Yeah, I have not been tweeting. That's for sure. I've been working, man. I've been working on a project or two. The main one is called bitbars.
I gotta be right now. I got the baby.
Right, oh, you got a baby? No, another project that I've been. Wait, did you just say you have to go get a baby? Did you just say you have to go get a baby? I think I need to go to bed. Hey, Patrick. I was gonna say a little thing on Trevor. Anyways, We got Patrick here. Wait, let me see. Add to stage. Oh, did we get rid of Antoine? No, BitBaron's here. Add to stage. What's up?
Oh,
Patrick,
Hey, Kyle.
welcome, sir.
Good to be here. Hey,
Please
guys.
meet,
Patrick.
please meet the Bit Baron
The
on the
Bit
right here,
Baron.
aka Antoine, and Sunny right down
Hey,
here.
hello.
Hey, guys.
So, Patrick, I had the great pleasure of kind of connecting with when we were in Milwaukee for the RNC, and then we did a parade. We did a whole bunch of Kennedy bus activations around Milwaukee during that time, and then after that we schemed and planned and made our way up to Chicago for the DNC, and Patrick helped organize a GoFundMe for the Kennedy bus to be up in Chicago. And oh man, Patrick, did we have a time up there? Did we make some
We
impact?
did. Yeah, it was a pretty good week. Not good. Phenomenal week for guerrilla marketing. Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, it was. It was like we leaned in so heavy for 4 days, while the Democrats were having their kind of coronation party, and it wasn't even like being like in like opposition or protesting. Like I feel like we just kind of went in with this mantra of let's kind of raise the vibe and let's bring awareness for independence and elevating or encouraging discussion around topics, and in that I feel pretty good about it. And,
Yeah,
also,
we definitely stayed true to what we were trying to do, which was what mattered. And like the middle of that week was, kind of uncertain, and we just kept going through that. So I think we did a really good job.
and then we also had 10,000 of these printed as well. So this is the new Independent, a newspaper that was created by Bobby Kennedy III, and it was actually on Sunday night that we came up with this headline of "Kennedy is weird. He's a conspiracy theorist that thinks his family was killed by the CIA." And I just feel like that was like, because that's what the mainstream media was saying about Trump. It's like, oh, he's weird, 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 weird. And I think for anybody who's ever been called weird, we know that it's not really like a.
It's not a slur anymore.
It's not a slur.
Yeah.
It's like,
if you're at this point it's like the weird normie divide.
yeah. And then the second article is called "Courted by Kamala." See that? Courted. And talks about how the DNC has spent $30 million. The Democratic Party spent $30 million, or allocated $30 million to get Bobby off of the ballots, so that people wouldn't be able to vote for him, because that's truly democratic. And as a result of all those efforts, Bobby wasn't able to be in Chicago. He was supposed to be in Chicago for the whole time of the DNC, not actively at the event, but doing satellite events and community immersions engagements. And instead was in New York and Albany and Philadelphia, trying to defend his right to be on the ballot against this lawfare tactic. And ultimately, it resulted in that Friday of him walking across, or first giving a press conference where he outlined, his reasoning and decision in the State of the Union and why he's suspending the official campaign, removing himself off 10 battleground ballots, but still remaining on 40 ballots. In predominantly what are considered like deep blue and deep red states that aren't really part of the political game.
Hey, quick question. I just fell into the middle of this, but is this a general conversation? Like, was this more geared towards any particular topic, or is this sort of just like I've never really done, aside from with you, Kyle, one of these StreamYard chats before. So is this kind of a general? I was going to mention something, but I didn't want to like derail the conversation.
This is the Love and Freedom Show.
Okay, cool.
Sonny, what are we doing?
Well, yeah. So, I mean, I was on a call earlier tonight. First of all, thanks for like laying out all that for these other guys. Did you two know about any of that? What he just told you?
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you asking me about do we know about RFK stuff?
Sonny and Baron, did either of you like have the like kind of the gist of what he just said, what Kyle just said before he just said it?
Well,
I
I know
believe so.
I'm a supporter of Kennedy. I'm not deep involved in politics myself.
Gotcha. Okay. Got it. Okay. Yeah. So basically, I was in a meeting earlier tonight, Kyle, and we found out that Bobby is removing himself from as many ballots as possible. So at this point, it's no longer 10 states. It's as many states as he can get himself off of, which was disappointing to hear, because
breaking news, folks. Breaking news. Bobby is pulling off of the ballots.
Yeah.
As many as he can. And
I thought there was a strategic reason for staying in some, that it'll hurt Kamala versus not.
This is live. I hope that this is public information, because late breaking news, folks.
Yeah, this is public information. So.
And Dunso's on here saying, but they are blocking him from removal now. So now that he's on the ballots, they're going to try and remove him. They're going to try and prevent him from. They prevented him from being on the ballots in the first place, and now they're going to prevent him from getting on. Makes no sense. It's a joke.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, it's definitely got me thinking, this information tonight, I think, hit me even a bit harder than finding out that Bobby was suspending his candidacy 2 weeks ago. And I think it's just because this adds finality to the closing of the opportunity to get a third party in this round. So as somebody commented in the meeting that I was in the comment section, well, another win for the two-party system, and I definitely felt that. It's definitely reinforced. Like, I'm going to have to sit with it and rest with it tonight. And sort of the disappointment and kind of reframing what's next. We know that part of this was going to be campaigning for Trump more in earnestly. I'm hoping that we can get more conversations going and more pressure that holds the second Trump administration's feet to the fire with this coalition that comes together. But this is definitely reinforced in my head the need to pull as many people as possible together into this unity coalition that we've been talking about, where it's no longer seeing the political divide in terms of left and right. It's more seeing it in terms of populists, independents, libertarians, third party against establishment, and all the things that the establishment is composed of, whether it's big pharma, big tech, big war, big media, big agriculture, big education, big bank. And effectively the left, right, and center populists are teaming up. This alliance between Trump and Kennedy is the center populists and the right populists teaming up. But that doesn't mean that there isn't room for the Bernie supporters as well. And there already actually were a lot of Bernie supporters as part of the Kennedy coalition.
Well, and that's like really frustrating, because I feel like, in a lot of like the deep blue states, like if he's pulling out of like Massachusetts, for example, like Massachusetts, in my opinion, is Kennedy country.
Yeah.
And
that's
like
where I'm at, by the way.
You're in Massachusetts, and I spent a lot of time there. And like, there's a lot of people that, I guess it's like, they will ultimately like vote Trump, but they would much more gladly have voted Kennedy. And I think, like, yeah, I don't know. Like you, are gonna kind of have to sit with this for a little bit, and and look at the next steps. Ultimately, one of the clear things that I'm really realizing, though, is that electoral politics and presidential politics is, I'm going to swear here, is a fucking joke. And it is a huge waste of money and energy. And all the money that went into getting on all the ballots was like, $15 million that could have gone into actually getting, homeless off the streets and getting poison out of our foods.
Mhm.
And there's just like, this is going to be a 3, 4, $5 billion election, and so much heart energy goes in, so much paper gets printed. Like, I'm sitting in my bus on like stacks of palm cards and like just useless material that I'm not going to joyfully be giving it out at all. So it's like,
Right.
we get done so much better. I still really believe in this newspaper, and I feel like this is the big thing. And at the INC in Denver, I think it's going to be an amazing gathering of people to really look at the solutions. And like Antoine right down here, and I've been talking a lot, and with Sunny, we've been talking for years about liquid democracy and direct democracy, and how do you actually give the people a voice and the opportunity to participate in discussions and be able to offer input and debate and ideate and ultimately collaborate on decision making, as opposed to once every 4 years like making a check on a box and then trusting in closed source software solutions to give us an effective output. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what,
We agree.
like, this election is definitely, it's kind of pulled all the final masks off of, of everything and really exposed the need to not just reinvigorate the political system, but the technological system simultaneously. And what heartens me with this coalition coming together, like I really want to get across to people that what this seems like at first, hearing this information tonight is, wow, we took a hell of a long path back to the same position, where we now find ourselves once again with a not necessarily our favorite choices. We find ourselves with okay, so we had Trump Hillary, we had Trump Biden, now we have Trump Harris. Like, now the Kennedy factor is basically fully removed. But I don't want people to feel that way, because it's changed the nature of the conversation and will continue to change the nature of the conversation, because Bobby's going to be a part of the transition team. And we have Tulsi Gabbard and Elon Musk and a growing number of people, the people who are going to be at the Independent National Convention, the people who are going to be at Rescue the Republic. Like, this is a growing thing. The next 2 months, this is really going to expand into more than just sort of the right-wing populism that the first Trump administration was, combined with a lot of the people who were hell-bent on making sure that Trump was seen as a disaster in every way. I'm not by any means, like, I'm not a Trump apologist. I'm not saying that he's a perfect angel or anything like that. I'm not saying that he hasn't screwed people over in the past, but I do think that all this additional scaffolding and all these different parts of the political spectrum coming together in a solid coalition that forms scaffolding around this second administration will really hold his feet to the fire in ways that previously they weren't. So that heartens me, but it's definitely, we don't have a lot of time to get people's heads around the strategy of the Unity Coalition and what the difference between a second Trump presidency and a Harris presidency would be. So I guess I ask anyone listening or anyone in this room right now for help in bringing that together, not just for the future of the country, the future of the world, but the future of a lot of these technologies that you guys talk about and care about.
Yeah, well, and I think in the spirit of independence too, it's really about like, not believing in the government to solve the problems. Like,
Right.
you know, it's how can we, like, is like I always come back to this quote by Bucky Fuller. It's like you can't fix a system by fighting it. To truly change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete.
Right.
And it just feels like that's so pertinent with this system that we're dealing with. Like the government is not going to fix itself. Like,
Mhm.
you know, you can have, you know, good, you know, angelic actors coming in, and there might be, you know, some light and desire, but like ultimately, like this system is, um, just another news item. Ultimately, this system is highly centralized, which equals highly secretive and
Right.
increasingly corrupt. So the antidote to that is transparency and creating an open container for discussion and discourse. So I think liquid democracy, citizen assemblies, you know, are the solution for that. And that feels like where I'll need to be putting more of my effort and intention towards enabling that larger discussion. Because I think even like, you know, like with Bobby forming this coalition with Trump, it's like there's a lot of fucking trust here, guys. It's like, you know, all of a sudden, like, you know, this movement of independence all comes and starts like, you know, encouraging others that, you know, oh, it's going to be different this time. And look, because, you know, we're elevating the discussion, and, you know, the threat of the other guys is really bad, but we're not voting because they're so bad. It's because um uh because this time, you know, they'll do right, but there's no real guarantees, you know, towards that.
Mhm.
um that said, I feel like, you know, amongst a lot of these parties there is a general openness towards let's be innovative, let's listen to the people, like the will of the people should prevail. And I think people, you know, I hope that, you know, people are ready to step into some vulnerability around, is there a better way we can do this? Do you want, should we talk about it, about, you know, what might be better? And, you know, should we maybe involve more people in these discussions?
Well, yeah, you know, it's like you know, without trying to sound too woo woo, because I know that a lot of this stuff can start to feel that way. It does seem like that a significant number of the humanity and consciousness oriented technologists are becoming part of this coalition, if they're not already part of this coalition, which gives me a sense of encouragement that um, the technologies of totalitarianism basically are being pushed back against the technologies of censorship and surveillance and all that. You know, I'm not saying that the battle is over by any means, but it's very heartening to see these forces come together.
Sonny, what do you think, buddy?
Yeah, that's what I'm encouraged by. I mean, right before Patrick came on, we were talking about what happened in Nashville a month ago when Bobby talked about, you know, putting 4 million Bitcoin on the reserve asset sheet for the United States. You know, Trump following suit, saying he's going to put 1 million. I don't know. I mean, first of all, I really I like Bobby. I actually read his book a couple years ago because of Kyle, and fell in love with just his like depth of knowledge, and more than anything, his like heartfelt message. You can tell when he speaks about anything, really, whether it's like Bitcoin or you know, vaccines or whatever. He's always just really on point, well researched, and he just cares. Like that's the one thing that comes through with his message. He's very deep in his message, and so I love that about him. But I also kind of feel like most people aren't. Like,
Yeah.
I remember when Trump came down the escalator, I was in Texas, you know, visiting my parents, and I was like, holy shit, he is so like the next president, like for sure. Like I've been to enough American cities to know enough American people to know that this guy's the president.
Mhm.
Like whether I like it or not, he's gonna be the president. So I've never said I'd like outright like Trump, but I always kind of knew, or I could see how he resonates with the people.
Mhm.
I saw with his last presidency that he had blind spots, and whoever these bad guys are that control the world or think that they do, they were wiser than him. And whether it be tech, whether it be, you know, like medicine or what, and they came at him using his blind spots. And so the fact that Elon's on Team Trump, the fact that RFK is going to be there, gives me hope. But I'm also, like Kyle said, I kind of gave up on hoping that the governments would somehow save us. I think it's really on us to a large extent. And that's why I think Bitcoin is so exciting, and that all these, like, you know, freedom loving people are gravitating towards it, because for 11 years now we've all been saying that like Bitcoin can't print it out of thin air, right? Like how are they winning these elections and all that? A lot of it's money related.
Mhm.
And when you can print infinite amounts of money, how do you beat that? Well, guess what? When you bring in the Bitcoin standard, you can. And that is kind of, I think, like taking the dragon by its head. And so I don't know. I'm hopeful. Yeah, I think, you know, all of them. I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. I think all these guys coming together, it's a positive, you know, force in the world. I don't know, Anton, what do you think?
Like I think it's been said before. I dislike the fact that we only have two choices, and I'd like there to be a third choice. So I support independence in general, and it's also been said before. But I think somebody should come out and say, if you elect me for president or for whatever mayor or any politician political position, my promise is that I will defer all my decision making to the DAO. So if you elect me, you will be able to vote on many decisions instead of just one decision every 4 years. And I would vote for the person that ran on that platform, and then I would like to vote on many different issues after that.
Yeah, the liquid democracy, DAO, whatever you want to call it. I like it. I like the idea in principle. And to me, it always seemed weird, like Kyle said, that you have to wait every 4 years to make these like binary decisions. And then everything, like, or 50% of all your money is taken by these people, and they just literally go bomb women and children on your behalf and don't ask you about it. And you don't even get like, can I just check a box that says like don't land bombs, like I'm fine with the roads or something. It's like we don't even
like I might agree with Trump
so
on
messed
some
up.
issues.
It's so
I might
messed up.
agree with Camel on
See,
others. It's like it's not binary.
Yeah, I don't want to take us down like a random like path right now in this conversation, but to me, I just the fact that governments violate the non-aggression principle, to me, just makes the whole argument kind of moot. Like they literally take your money by force. So what they do with it afterwards is irrelevant. Just the fact that they take it by force, to me, is kind of like, why are we even arguing about this? Like it should people should just get to keep. Anyways, I don't want to go into this one. I always lose it, but I can't get over that. Like I'm not allowed to beat you up and take your money.
A different perspective. Like
Exactly. That's why I don't want to go into it, because I know your argument and we're gonna be here forever. But yeah, I don't know.
What do you think the biggest hurdle is at this point to the further push of blockchain technology into the early majority? Because I was just thinking earlier that similar to blockchain, Bobby's candidacy was in that chasm between the visionaries and the early adopters, you know, the marketing adoption curve, the visionaries and the early adopters that are sort of on the tail, the early tail of the bell curve, and the early majority that's like, you know, 34% of the population or the electorate. Like what is the biggest hurdle for Bitcoin to cross that chasm from, it seems to me that it's tapped out the innovators and early adopters and is trying to find its way into the early majority. Is there an event, or is it just like sort of it needs more advocacy, more broad advocacy? What do you think?
Are you asking me or
Yeah,
Kyle or anyone?
anyone that wants
Yeah,
to comment on
that's
it.
a good question.
People always bring up user experience. I think it's like people they I forgot what the term was, but when the new technology comes along, it can't just be like slightly better than what they're using.
Mm,
It has to be like way better for them to justify the
mm,
effort and learning curve. So as soon as it becomes like the difference between using crypto and using dollars, if crypto is slightly better, then people are not going to change. But if it's like way better, then people are going to like change tomorrow or today.
Okay.
So
Yeah, and the other thing is like you can't bring about like an everything app that does everything like instantly. Like I feel like with Musk and the X strategy or the Twitter strategy, it's you create a huge group of users and then you slowly drip in additional features and it becomes like this power horse engine. And with a lot of the open source blockchain based powered apps, they can kind of work together as modules, and it's relying on common, like a very large pool of data that's being shared and used, and it's encrypted, and then you're having little different kind of apps that are working on top of it, fulfilling different purposes. And one example could be a liquid democracy app, which I think will probably look like a Reddit style solution where you can upvote and downvote or vote yes or vote no or abstain on different topical issues. And what makes it liquid democracy is using blockchain, you're going to be able to delegate your vote to people that you trust, who are going to be active participants on that Reddit board or on that direct democracy board. And that is like a pattern that people are used to and I feel like people are kind of aware of. And with the right critical mass of users and discussion and engagement, I think that can become 10x more effective than say Congress discussing topics, because these representatives who go to Washington, they get elected and then they'll sit on the agriculture board, and some of them will have zero experience with agriculture or farming or livestock or or systems and regenerative farming and the different topics which are actually pertain, which are things where you'd want the experts to kind of sit in. And instead, right now you've got like this kind of this selective show of open engaged discourse, but it's not really open engaged. So if you were to create more open inclusive systems where people can deliberate on topics they care about, and then also be able to selectively delegate your influence, your voting power, to others based on topics. So take for example like the economy, or healthcare or agriculture or education or defense, like those would all be like basically subreddits, let's say. And for each of those, you'd be like, when it comes to education, I believe Sunny is the best person I know, and I know he's active in this community, so I'm going to delegate to Sunny. And when it comes to the economy, I like Patrick. I'm going to delegate to Patrick. And when it comes to defense, I like BitBaron because he knows all about it and he's played a lot of RPG games before. So that's how you could effectively delegate. And then when each of those, and then Sunny, you could delegate to somebody else like, that you really believe in. And then ultimately, when those votes actually happen, if you don't like the way the vote has gone down, like, you can get a notification or a summary of, like, the different votes you participated in, or your proxies have participated in. If you don't like it, you can undo it, and, like, you can remove. And that, like, solves one of the biggest problems that we have with politics today, is so much energy goes into this singular vote, and then there's no accountability for them to basically keep their word of what they're saying. Um, yeah, so it's much more fluid, much more effective.
My concern. So I'm definitely a believer in decentralization. I'm also concerned that there's the possibility that this form of decentralization, I don't know exactly the mechanisms. I mean, you're doing a good job describing it, but I don't know exactly the mechanisms of liquid democracy. But I'm concerned that it could lead to an over specialization problem where, I often feel that industrial society already suffers from that, and that's part of what makes me look forward to sort of our shift into an information society. Is you have less of a focus on people who are hyper compartmentalized, and more of a sort of a generalist type perspective. And so I'm wondering if there's anything within the liquid democracy concept or platform that allows for, not just allows for, but encourages each of these people that have been delegated sort of a specialized responsibility to cross pollinate with the other people, so that the other specialists, so that there's an intermingling. Like, there's not just a sense of like, oh, the economy exists in isolation of the military, or in isolation of the medical industry, or in isolation of all these other things, because in reality they're all like analogous to different bodily systems in the same organism, so I'm wondering if there's encouragement, or if that could be built in for people to just cross pollinate. And I think that you have a better, like, say that you were chosen to focus on the economy, which is obviously many, many things within that. I think that there's a mistake in assuming that you have a better understanding in the economy if you focus on it in isolation, when in reality, counterintuitively, you actually have a better understanding of the economy if you understand a lot of the things that are not the economy, and how those things relate to the economy. It's sort of like the saying, he who knows only his own side of the case knows little of that. So yeah, I guess that's just my concern with something like this.
And I think that's a really fair concern, and I could see, like, right out the gates, like, if it like put it into action, yeah, I would probably like, I think a lot of people would delegate to someone like Bobby, for example. Be like, you're going to be participating in a lot of these different actions, and you're, like, a expert generalist with a huge depth of knowledge and integrity in your decision making process. So, like, I'll just kind of trust you. And if he chooses to trust in other people for certain other things, he's like, when it comes to like healthcare, and, like, like understanding the root causes of a lot of this corporate capture, and, like, maybe, like, he's always talking about Cali means these days, and some of his talk. So, well, what you got here, Sonny?
Okay, so I made an app for this. So you got Bobby, right? So he can, for example, provide his delegation to Alice. You have proposals here. So I heard fixed economy. Let's add another one. Use bitbars as reserve currency. Yeah. Add. Okay. Now we can vote for. We can vote against. Anyways, I built that in like 5 seconds using AI. But back to your point though, Patrick, around Bitcoin. So it's only been 10 years, or maybe 12 or 13 now. I think it's still nascent. I think the fact that it's gone from $0 to $70,000 in less than 10 years makes it the most or makes it the best performing asset in the history of mankind. So that, and when you look at mutual funds and stuff, usually you look at like 10-year track record. So the fact that it's been around for 10 years, I think, is pretty big. The fact that BlackRock, Fidelity, and like all the big entities are now listing as ETFs is ginormous. And a lot of these things, they happen and then nothing happens right away. So people are like, oh, there's nothing to it. But some of these things I think take time. And then now you've got, like, if you would have asked me 10 years ago when I got into Bitcoin, what is the most bullish outcome you could potentially predict? I'd be like, oh, a US presidential candidate or two saying that they would put it on their reserve asset base. Like that's what that would be like the most bullish. So like we're kind of there, and it's kind of like, what? That happened way faster than I thought it would have. So yeah, I think we're definitely on our way to mass adoption. I think UX UI, what Antoine brought up, is very valid. but again, because of its decentralized nature, it's and because it's open source, like there's so many people working on it that will get solved for. But more importantly, I think it solves for the most punishing problem of them all, which is inflation, which is that these people just print money to infinity and beyond, and pay all their buddies and shit, and it's like the whole system is rigged. And if you can't fix the money, how can you fix anything else? It's the very lifeblood of the economy, of what people wake up in the morning to do. You know what I mean? So to me, Bitcoin speaks to the heart of it, and this is why they don't like it. And the fact that guys like Trump and RFK are like, yo, we see the light. Like RFK said 80% of his personal wealth is in Bitcoin.
Right.
What the fuck? Like, that's irresponsible. No, that's irresponsibly awesome. Like, that guy gets it, right? Right? Antoine's smiling. Yeah, you're saying, Patrick?
Well, I was going to say, I do think that the big event is like what you were mentioning, where we've seen that countries like, what is it, Belize or something like that, that have adopted, Bitcoin more as their main currency.
El Salvador.
But like El Salvador. If the United States adopted a large amount of Bitcoin as part of its reserve currency portfolio, then that would be, in my eyes, the galvanizing event that would give this thing the trust, like the official trust of, granted, like the U.S. government in many ways has a lot of waning credibility, but it still has a significant amount of credibility. And so, for that to occur, I think would legitimize it in the eyes of enough outsiders, enough kind of normies or pseudo normies who are more like, okay, this is weird. We were talking earlier about like weird and how it's not really pejorative, but there's enough people who, like, we basically need this to go mainstream enough that it gets liftoff speed. And I think that would be the event for that happen.
Michael Saylor predicted bear case of $3 million of Bitcoin, and I think bull case of 59 million. Fidelity, I just read yesterday, said by 2035 they think each Bitcoin will be worth $1 billion. And the crazy thing about Bitcoin is like this self-fulfilling prophecy, whereas more and more people learn about it and adopt it, the price keeps going up because the number of Bitcoin are limited.
Right.
Like that's how they, essentially take the living force out of us, right? Just by like taxing us to death, and then like taking the money and inflating it away. Like, and Bitcoin speaks to the heart of that. So I don't know. I think it's
nothing's perfect, and just so we don't jerk Bitcoin's chain too hard. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Antoine's a bearer of bad news here because he knows things that most.
Well, listen, I'm no bear of Bitcoin. I'm not a bear. I'm a bull.
You're a baron.
I'm a baron. But
Antoine actually had one of the first Bitcoin ATM machines in Canada, and I have this 45-minute long video of me trying to get $20 worth of Bitcoin from it. Speaking of bad UX. So
right.
Antoine knows all about
But
it.
I think Bitcoin is literally a bubble. It might even be the biggest bubble in history. And that's not to say that it's not useful. Like the dot-com bubble was clearly useful.
The railroad bubble was useful. Exactly. The dot-com bubble.
Even though it's a bit bubble, and it might even be the biggest bubble, but nonetheless, bubbles are dangerous, and you should keep that in mind. You can make money from a bubble, but you can also get screwed by a bubble as well.
Yeah, and when they pop, a lot of innovation tends to happen, and a lot of things that like the hype that created the bubble then gives way to sort of like oftentimes a stabler version of what the thing that was being hyped was promising.
Yeah, well, the hype serves its purpose, and the trough serves its purpose. The hype creates like really crazy innovation in a short period of time, and that people put a lot of resources into crazy ideas they would never have otherwise. And out of the 100 crazy ideas, maybe 2 of them are like super innovative and change the world.
Yeah.
The other 98 just died. All that money is wasted, but it was worth it for those 2 ideas. The Amazon, like think about how many companies had to die for Amazon to be born.
Those are like the I'm sure you've at least heard of it, but I don't know if you've seen him speak before or read the book. But the Nassim Taleb talking about black swans. Like these are the black swans that make up for all of that other volatility.
But what I'm saying as well, it's a double-edged sword. Yes, you can get huge benefits out of a bubble, but you can also get like your entire life savings destroyed if you're not careful.
Absolutely.
I mean, what if Bitcoin is the biggest bubble in history? That would be crazy. Like that would just be
it could be that, and then there could also be sort of a more to take an intermediate route. I guess I see Bitcoin as maybe you've heard before that when it comes to products that you order, you can either get 2 out of the 3 of these. You can get speed, quality, or price, but you can't get all 3. So take your pick of 2 out of the 3 of those. There's always trade-offs. And to me, I think what Bitcoin is what are the 3 values of money again? There's like store of value, medium of exchange.
Oh yeah.
And what is the third one?
Unit of account.
Yeah, unit of account.
You're absolutely right. The funny thing is no currency has those 3. They're actually like medium of exchange is like directly opposed to store of value, because if you can store it, you don't want to trade it. Like
exactly. So to me, Bitcoin it fulfills unit of account and medium of exchange, but it doesn't fulfill store of value in my eyes.
I think it fulfills store of value and unit of account, but not,
you do okay,
but
not.
How does it not preserve store of value?
I don't think it fills medium of exchange at all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that I agree with. Yeah.
Okay, then maybe that is what I'm trying to say. I guess what I was saying was there are going to be some forms of currency or forms of value storage that are just going to be fundamentally more desirable because they're tactile or they're less vulnerable to, like, with Bitcoin, obviously it's stored on a decentralized network, but like if your phone dies or whatever, your access to it is gone, then that's a problem in certain contexts. And that's obviously going to be a trade-off that people are going to be willing to, because it can't be inflated like a fiat currency. That's going to be a worthwhile trade-off in a lot of cases.
I think that's fine for storage of value, because if your phone turns off, you still have it, it's still safe, but it's not fine for medium of exchange, because if your phone turns off, you can't send it to somebody.
Thank you. That is actually what I meant. I'm not just trying to steal your answer. That is what I meant to say, is like you can't. It's a good store of value because it can't be inflated. Yes. So thank you.
And it can't be easily stolen from you. Like it can't be hacked.
Right.
It can be like you can easily store it compared to other stores of value. Like I would say it's harder to store gold because you need a safe location to store it.
Right.
Bitcoin, you just need to save some words. You just need a private key. So it's much easier to store than gold.
Hey, someone just got a bitbar watching. Cool. Kyle, it's a Wednesday. I got work tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, feel free to drop off whenever you're ready, Sonny.
Yeah, I think I might need to dip, guys, but this was fun. Let's do it
Same here.
again soon, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, like, right now too. It's like, what should I do with the Kennedy bus? What do you guys think?
Give me until tomorrow to have some good answers to that. Off the top of my head, I'm just gonna have lazy answers.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can go, like, bring the party to some Trump parties and, like, work that energy.
Turn it into a
Um,
bit bus.
turn it into a Bitbar bus.
No, just call it the bit bus.
The Bit bus, the Bitcoin bus. I mean, I could potentially do something like that. It's, ultimately it is a canvas. It could be done as something else. I like the notion of liquid democracy and, like, the We the People bus, the independence bus. In the face of, like, and it might be like, just recognizing the broken nature of the system that we're operating in, and there's still going to be so much energy going into this whole, presidential election. I don't know. I'm
Love and Freedom Show Bus.
Love and Freedom Show bus. Yeah.
Go on tour, interview RFK, and I don't know. Yeah, but you sure made a splash with it. I was there when you got it painted, when you had it painted. Was it in Miami?
That was
During
in
the
Miami.
conference? I was like, it was so cool.
Yeah, it was last name.
It's cool.
Yeah, that was epic, and it's been, so many places, and it's been such a lightning rod, and, like, a catalyst for engagement. And I'm honestly, like, I'm kind of fucking pissed right now because I think Bobby could have still won this thing had he leaned in.
Yeah.
I think the campaign. I'm gonna reserve my words, but there were a lot of missed opportunities, like, over and
Yep.
over and over again. And I think it was not a radically collaborative endeavor, and it did
No.
not represent the values or the ethos that Bobby, speaks to and speaks of. And I think these are lessons to, reflect on and learn and improve. And yeah, I think I'm going to revisit. I posted a tweet the other day that was really, I felt it was highly resonant. Let me see if I can pull it up, because it was just about the spirit of independence and what it means to be independent, and not giving our power away to
My vote is turning it more broadly, instead of just turning it into a Trump bus, turning it into a bus in honor of the Unity Coalition. And unity, like, you can spell that out, what that means, on the side of the bus, rather than just having it be a vague concept. Like, here are the main principles of the Unity Coalition, like what they have on the Rescue the Republic website, of, like, we want a decentralized currency, we want these 10 principles, this is what we try to uphold. And it's ironically unity in the long-term defense of independence and sovereignty and liberty, basically, so.
Yeah, and I don't want to like write off kind of Trump either. And I think Bobby recognized that, and Bobby made a very difficult decision. I want to listen to him more about this, but here's this post. There's, like, I'm 34. I used to think politics were real. Trump was a free thinker and liberals were brainwashed. Then I discovered Murray Rothbard and changed my life forever. 7 lessons from one of America's most controversial economists that'll change the way you see the world. 1, the more the state plans, the more difficult planning becomes for the individual. Your entire life comes down to decision making. No centralized authority can accurately act in everyone's best interest.
Thank you.
They act and we follow. We have a goal, or you will be assigned one. Have a goal, or you will be assigned one. The greatest danger to the state is independent intellectual criticism. People are distracted. If we truly thought for ourselves, we would see that depending on the government is a way we handicap ourselves. The modern superpower is focused, independent thought. Amen. Why do people obey the government? People tend to enslave themselves, to let themselves be governed by tyrants. It's easier to put faith in someone else to order the chaos in your life. Your life is your responsibility. Face the chaos head on. Amen. Government is a disease masquerading as its own cure. It creates problems, then claims to solve them. Corruption, loss of freedom, economic inefficiency. Creating crisis at large creates dependence at large. 5. The state of the great fictitious entity by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. When given power, people will benefit themselves. Don't be naive. Nobody is fighting your battles out of the good of their heart. Not everyone. I do believe some are. The state is a gang of thieves writ large. The nature of government is strong arming citizens for their resources, and the gang has a monopoly on violence to get what it wants. The only way out is individualized free exchange. Boom.
The state is a gang of thieves. Exactly.
Let's retweet that one.
Yeah, he said
That'll
it. He
repost
said
right
it.
there.
He captures it, bruh. That's what I
Yeah.
mean. So it's not
Liberty is not built upon narrow self-interest. It is built upon the recognition that there are more important things than self-interest. Self-interest makes us lean on the government for personal gain, but that dependence dissolves freedom.
Okay, so can we talk about? I was gonna go, but can I stay for a bit longer?
Yeah,
No, you have to leave.
you can do whatever you want, Sonny.
Okay, so can I share my screen? Because you keep talking about this thing, right? Which is what? What do you talk about all the time?
Liquid democracy.
Okay, so look, I built an app while you were doing the speech,
Oh,
and it's getting better and better. Look at this. Hold on. Proposals. Okay, increase education budget. Vote against. Okay, and look, there's a little graph in the bottom here. Okay, implement carbon tax. Okay, the expert users are Bob and Ethan. Okay, and then universal health care. Okay, there you go. Everyone can vote. And then look at this. You can go search proposal. See that? Then you can go to users, right? You got Alice, and Alice can be like, I give Bob my delegation. Bob can say, I give Alice my delegation.
How does that work? That creates a loop, doesn't it?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. See proposal title. Bitbars for all. Antoine is Santa. Yeah. Add proposal. Boom. New proposal's been added. Anyways, and you marry this with like a Bitcoin in the background where it's immutable and censorship resistant and all that stuff. Maybe you start getting somewhere. But yeah, but I do think technology holds some of the answers for us. And I don't know, guys like Trump and Bobby give me hope, man, that the government's maybe got some, I don't know, light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe. But then you see people like Ron Paul who come and, speak the truth, and nothing happens. So I don't know. I'm hopeful.
Well, I wouldn't say nothing happened. Ron Paul, he was just very early and he inspired a lot of people. I mean, I wouldn't be the same person I am without Ron Paul, and you probably wouldn't be the same either. I mean, he was just kind of ahead of the curve, but he was also a man of integrity and principle, and he continues to be. And he's like, we should make a Ron Paul statue.
Make your bus about Ron.
Ron Paul!
Take it back to the basics.
Back to the basic and the Fed.
I saw David Bailey just like a week ago in Toronto, and he had end the Fed, big end the Fed shirt, and he's the one who brought Trump into Bitcoin. So, yeah, Maybe it's all connected. Wow,
Yeah.
almost 400 viewers. 2 hours.
2 hours while we're doing something.
Crazy. Let's reconnect again soon, guys. I'm gonna hop. Yeah.
Yeah, I got to hop too.
All right.
Good
Well,
meeting you,
let's
Antoine and
Let's
Sonny.
bring this one to an end. It's like 2 hours on
let's
the
bring
dot.
it.
It's
Yeah,
perfect.
no, let's bring it. It's perfect. 2 hours on the dot.
Antoine fell asleep.
We're gonna play the song.
Yeah, Antoine's still alive.
All right, let's go.
Love,
So lame.
love,
No, I'm kidding.
freedom,
Thank you, everybody.
freedom. Welcome to the Love and Freedom Show. Please welcome your hosts, Sonny Ray and Kyle Kemper.
I'm embarrassed. My mom would not be proud.
Yes, you would, Sonny. I'm proud of you. Come on, let's go.
You had some good ones though.
Kemper,
Hello.
your host, Sonny Ray and
Wednesday.
Kyle Kemper.
Okay. I gotta
AI
recoup it.
song. One take. Maybe we take more takes. All right, friends.
Never again. I'm never doing this again. See you guys
There.
tomorrow. Later.
Well,
Good night, guys. Nice
bye,
to meet you.
everybody.
Hey, Kyle.
Awful.